Living alone, especially as you get older, is often portrayed as a peaceful and empowering experience. You get to do what you want when you want, without any interruptions or obligations to others. While this is true to an extent, there is another side to the story that isn't talked about as often, things you only hear when you're living it. I've gathered wisdom from countless platforms and forums, and I want to share what most people are saying. This is not just my experience, but a collective one from those who have walked this path before, and it's not all bad. It's just real. So let's talk about the parts of living alone as an older person that people don't tell you, and how to make the best of it. One of the biggest surprises of living alone in later life is realizing that you're your own safety net, that there's no one around to notice if something goes wrong. I've read stories of people falling and not being found for hours or even days because they didn't have anyone looking out for them. One Redditor told me he had to start carrying his phone everywhere he went, even in the shower, just in case. While this may sound a little extreme, it's a good idea to think ahead about your safety. You might consider wearing a smartwatch or a medical alert system, especially if you live in a remote area or don't have close access to a doctor. It's one of those precautions that can give you peace of mind and allow you to continue living alone with confidence. For example, I remember reading a comment on an online forum from a woman who had installed an emergency key box outside her house. That way, if something ever happened, trusted friends or family could get in without breaking a window. Loneliness can be a real problem, even for introverts. Most people think that living alone is an introvert's dream, and most of the time it is, but even the most solitary people can face bouts of loneliness, especially as they get older. Many people on forums say that their social circles have shrunk over the years. Friends have moved away, they've retired. Friends have moved away, retired, or died, and meeting new people can feel more challenging. One elderly gentleman on a forum shared how he would go days without having a single conversation with anyone. He loved his independence, but missed the casual interactions of having someone around, a partner or a flatmate, with whom he could chat about the little things like the weather or what's going on in the world. As one woman said on a forum, "My cat may not talk, but he's always there when I come home, and that makes all the difference." 3. Keeping up with home maintenance can be overwhelming. One thing that gets harder as you get older, and that no one really talks about, is keeping up with housework. As we get older, our energy levels change, and tasks like cleaning the gutters, mowing the lawn, or even just vacuuming can feel more exhausting. One woman told me how she kept a list of household projects that needed to be done, but ended up putting most of them off. It wasn't that she didn't care about her home, it was just too overwhelming to tackle alone. If you find yourself in this position, don't hesitate to get some help. And if your budget allows, consider downsizing. A smaller living space means less maintenance and fewer things to worry about, giving you more time to enjoy the things that matter. 4. Your daily routine becomes sacred, and that's okay. When you live alone, without a partner or roommate to share responsibilities or spontaneous plans, your routine becomes your stability. Whether it's your morning coffee on the porch, your afternoon walks, or your favorite TV show in the evening, these habits keep you grounded. One woman in her 70s said she started her mornings by playing the same song while making breakfast, just to fill the quiet house with some energy. Another man explained how he looked forward to watering his garden every evening. He said it wasn't just about the plants, but the sense of purpose and structure it gave his day. Don't let anyone tell you that having a rigid routine is a bad thing. It's those little, everyday moments that make living alone special. They're your rituals, and they give you control over your life. 5. Cooking for one can be tricky, but rewarding cooking for yourself can be one of those unexpectedly tricky things when you're older and living alone. Older and living alone, you don't need to prepare big meals, and sometimes it feels like too much effort to make a full meal just for yourself. I've read countless stories of people resorting to frozen meals or takeaway because it's easier, but as one woman commented on the forum, learning to love cooking for yourself can change your perspective completely. It becomes less about the work and more about the care you put into yourself. Try batch cooking at weekends or making meals that you can eat over a few days. Some have found joy in experimenting with new recipes and treating it as a hobby rather than a chore. You may find that preparing food for yourself becomes a little act of self-care. It's one of those things that reminds you that you're worth the effort, and it's a healthier and more budget-friendly option in the long run. 6. Silence can be both a blessing and a curse. Silence is something that people don't expect to hit them as hard as it does when they start living alone, especially if they're used to a busy household or a full-time job. Some people thrive on it, but for others it's unsettling. One older woman said she started leaving the radio on in the background while she did her housework, just to fill the air with some noise. Another man said he listens to podcasts all day long to feel like someone is talking to him, whether it's music, audiobooks, or the TV, finding ways to break the silence. On the flip side, silence can be a real gift, especially if you've been surrounded by people all your life. It's a space to think, reflect, and recharge. 7. You need to be intentional about physical activity. Living alone, especially as you get older, can mean fewer reasons to get up and move around without a partner or housemate. Encourage yourself to go for walks or take part in communal activities. It's easy to fall into a sedentary lifestyle. Many people on the forums have confessed that after living alone for a while, they notice their physical fitness declining. Staying physically active takes more intention when you're the only one motivating yourself. A good way to maintain your health is to incorporate physical activity into your routine, no matter how small. Whether it's setting a daily step goal, doing some light stretching in the morning, or joining a local fitness class for older adults, these small efforts can have a big impact on your well-being. One woman I read about decided to get a dog just for that reason. The dog needs to walk to get her moving. Physical activity doesn't have to mean going to the gym. It can be gardening, dancing around your living room, or taking the stairs instead of the lift. Your sense of time can change in unexpected ways. Another thing that people don't often talk about is how living alone can change your relationship with time. Without the rhythms of another person in the house, you can lose track of the day, the week, or even the month. People online have mentioned that time either stretches too long or slips away unnoticed. One man commented on a forum that after his retirement and the death of his spouse, he had days where he wasn't sure what day it was, or even what time it was, because you no longer have external cues like a partner's work schedule or children's activities to structure you. The good news is that you have the power to create your own rhythm. Some people find that keeping a loose schedule helps. For example, you could designate certain days for certain tasks. Grocery shopping on Mondays, house cleaning on Thursdays, and so on. If you have hobbies that you look forward to at certain times of the day or week, such as attending a weekly class, gardening in the afternoon, or cooking a special Sunday dinner, it's important to keep track of time, but also to allow yourself to enjoy its flow. What works for you is a gift. 9. Decluttering is both easier and harder when you live alone. The task of decluttering takes on a new meaning. On the one hand, there's no one around to argue about which items to keep or throw away, which can make the process smoother. On the other hand, everything in your home becomes a reflection of your life. Every photo, every book. Every photo, every book, every piece of furniture holds memories, and letting them go can feel more personal. I remember reading a comment from an elderly woman who had lived alone for years. She shared how she found herself keeping things for their sentimental value. Even though she knew she didn't need them, she said, "It's just me. I don't know who it hurts to hold on to these things, but then I think, do I really want to leave all this for someone else to sort through?" Many people in online communities emphasize the emotional difficulty of decluttering when you live alone. Objects take on a deeper meaning, and parting with them feels like closing chapters of your life, but there is also freedom in simplifying. Freedom in simplifying. One man in his late 60s shared how he decided to downsize his belongings to make life easier for himself and his family. He said it gave him peace of mind knowing that his home felt more manageable. Decluttering when you're older and alone isn't about minimalism for minimalism's sake. It's about making your space a reflection of who you are. It's okay to keep the things that bring you joy, but letting go of what no longer serves you can be liberating. Start small, tackle one area at a time, and allow yourself to feel the emotions that come with it. After all, this is your space and you have the power to make it what you want it to be. One of the surprising things about living alone as you get older is how social invitations start to dwindle. It's not that people stop caring about you, but as friends and family move on to different stages of life, busy with families, careers, or even moving away, you may find yourself less involved in group activities. Some people on the forums have expressed how they've noticed that they don't get invited to get-togethers as much, and it can feel a bit isolating. One woman said in a thread, "I used to wait for my phone to ring, but now I've learned that I need to be proactive." This is such valuable advice. Instead of waiting for others to invite you, create your own social life. It could be as simple as inviting a friend over for coffee, organizing a book club, or hosting a movie night in your living room. The best part about hosting or organizing fun is that you get to shape it around what you enjoy. One man in his 60s mentioned that he started a neighborhood walking group where a small group would meet every Sunday and explore different local trails, which kept him connected and active. Living alone means you have the freedom to shape your social life, so take advantage of it. If you like crafting, invite people over for a DIY night. If you love a particular TV show, plan a weekly viewing party. Be the one to reach out and you'll find others will follow. 11. It's easy to neglect self-care, but it's important. When you live alone, there's no one to notice if you've been wearing the same clothes for 3 days or if you haven't bothered to cook a proper meal. It's easy to fall into a routine of not taking care of yourself. Many people on forums admit that living alone sometimes leads to a sense of who am I doing this for? I'm doing this for me, but here's the thing. You're doing it for you. One man shared how, after years of living alone, he realized he was letting small things slide, skipping meals, not showering regularly, and spending too much time on the couch. I had to remind myself that I deserve the same care and attention that I would give to someone else. Care isn't just about grooming or eating well. It's also about your mental health, whether it's keeping up with medical appointments, getting enough sleep, or simply doing things that make you feel good. Self-care is crucial when you're alone. One woman shared her routine of lighting candles in the evening, putting on a face mask, and reading a book. It's a small ritual, but it's something she does just for herself to feel nurtured. Get dressed in the morning. Even if you're not going anywhere, cook meals that you enjoy and pamper yourself in whatever way makes you feel uplifted. After all, you live alone, but you still deserve the best care, and only you can give it to yourself. Living alone as an older person has its challenges, but it can also be deeply fulfilling. You have the freedom to create the life you want, and that's something precious. But just remember, it's okay to ask for help, to prepare for the unexpected, and to lean on others when you need to. You've made it this far, and there's still so much to look forward to. Surround yourself with what makes you happy, whether that's a beloved pet, a garden, or your favorite book. And when the hard days come, remember that you're not really alone. There's a whole community of people just like you making their way through it too. Feel free to share your own thoughts and experiences in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. Thanks for watching.